Hi, boys and girls, and welcome back to another show of George and Willy's World. We're glad you're here for another show, and we've got George and Willy with us. And look at, they're alive a little bit tonight. And we also have Mrs. Kranz. Hello, Mrs. Kranz. What have you and George been doing lately?
Well, George has been going to Alta Sierra School Tuesday mornings and listening to the second graders read to her. And on Wednesday afternoons, she's been going to the Helen Library from 4 to 5. And the children come and sign up and read to her. And boys and girls, we would love it if you would come and visit us at the library any Wednesday from 4 to 5 o'clock.
In fact, I was reading our local newspaper, and in there I saw a little ad that said, "Come read to George."
Yes.
And it was at the Helen Library, so I knew it must have been this famous George we have on our show. So I was excited to see that it was in our local newspaper.
Yes.
So do you have that put in then?
The librarian does that every month.
That's
yeah.
wonderful. Well, Willy's been very busy recuperating and helping me recuperate, and also he went to my class for a couple of times over Deer Day, drop everything and read. He's a reading assistant dog, and the children read to him there. And he came to school today after he got all nice and cleaned, and another day so he's been to school a few times this year. So anyway, we're so glad to have our new guest here. Our new guest happens to be a runner. Yes, running is a wonderful activity and a wonderful sport. And so we have Mrs. Madigan. Hello, Mrs. Madigan.
Hi, Mrs. Mapes.
And I am so glad to have you join us at George and Willy's World. And you are a runner. Among many things, you are a runner. She's also a school teacher and has been for a number of years. And how did you get involved in running, and how has it maybe changed who you are? Tell us a little bit about
my running?
About your running, yes.
Well, it's definitely changed who I am. But to answer your first question, I think I became involved in running when my children were small, and we just did things together. Whether it was running in the neighborhood or at a park or on a camping trip, it was a lot of fun to go out and play with them.
And so that's how you were active, and then running became part of your activity?
Well, we realized as a family that exercise was important, and I realized that running was pretty simple. All you need are tennis shoes to run.
Yes.
Running shoes.
Yes.
So it's pretty easy to put your running shoes on and go out your back door and get your exercise.
Yes. I used to run for a number of years, and then I had a problem with my knee and I kind of got out, but now I probably do something called jogging. It's a walk and then a run, or walk and then a little faster. So I'm not as active as a runner. But tell us how long you run. How long have you been in? Well, you've been in the sport for a number of years, but you are in races and all kinds of different activities.
Well, actually, I started running, not jogging, about 10 years ago. And became excited about entering races. At first I thought, no, it's just fun to go out and run. But it's also fun to set a goal and to train for it, and then to actually compete and come away from it. And training takes a long time to run a long race. The longer the race, the earlier you have to start. Sometimes if we run a marathon, I start 6 months ahead training. And it starts slowly, and it gradually builds up to where you're running almost as long as a marathon.
And how long is a marathon? Because some of these children at home have no idea how long a marathon is.
Well, from just about Grass Valley to Auburn is a marathon. It's about 26 miles, a little more than 26 miles.
Wow. And if you've ever been from Grass Valley to Auburn, it's a drive.
That's quite a drive.
Yes, and that's all on your own 2 feet and legs. So what are some of the things you have to do in order to prepare to go out and run?
Well, when you're running something as intense as a marathon, you don't just run. You have to do what's called cross-training. And so twice a week I go to the gym and I ride a stationary bicycle. And 3 times a week at the same gym I do a yoga class. And the rest of the time I'm running outside or on a treadmill, depending on the weather. And when the race day comes, you get up very, very early. And this last marathon that we ran was in Sacramento. I say we because Mr. Madigan runs with me all the time. And we got up when it was very, very dark, and we left very, very early, and we arrived with thousands and thousands of people in Sacramento. And we got on buses, and we took buses to the start of the race, and then we waited until it started, and thousands of people at the same time going across the start line.
I've seen pictures of races and when they all take off, and it's so exciting. And I've been in small races. I don't run 26 miles when I did. I would run maybe 6 miles or 8 miles at a race. But it was long enough for me to get the feel of how exciting race day is.
It definitely is exciting, and lots of people come out to cheer you on. And you always get a t-shirt, and you always get a medal. Would you like to see my medal?
I would love to see. And I remember the few, I had a t-shirt too. And I still have my t-shirts. They're very special.
Well, this is a medal from a marathon.
Oh my goodness, boys and girls at home, can you see that medal? It's a gorgeous medal. There are colors, there's blue and red and purple and orange, all kinds of wonderful medals. And how did you get that? What did you have to do to receive a medal?
Well, it's pretty nice. You just have to do what I said, train for the marathon. Get there.
So everybody at the marathon gets
Everybody at the marathon gets one of these, and it has a giant ribbon that goes with it. But I took the ribbon off because I wanted to hang it on my bulletin board. But something very special happened to me at this marathon. I got something else that I'll share with you.
And that says...
It says that I won.
Wow, it
age.
says women's first place. And it was the 25th anniversary of that race in Folsom to Sacramento. First place. How long did it take you to run then?
It took me, that's the third sharing, 3 hours and 46 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And 16 seconds.
I am impressed. That is so exciting. And how many people in your age group are running usually?
I would think probably a few hundred.
Yeah.
In my age group.
Wow.
Now, this is what you probably remember from races, but you always have a number so that they can tell where you are in the race and how you're doing.
Yes. And this is something that you can lead up to. I hope many of you boys and girls at home like to go outside and play, and that's the beginning of running. Just going out and playing and getting exercise and building up those bones and muscles and strengthening. And there's 3 kinds, we were talking about this, there's 3 kinds of ways you can actually build your body to become stronger. And what are those?
Well, the 3 big names are endurance and strength and flexibility. Now, when you're grown up, you run a lot, or if you're a marathon runner, you run as I do, and you train with your running for your endurance. You go to the gym and you lift weights for strength, and you go to yoga classes for flexibility. But when you're a child, you can just go outside and run around and play tag, and that's building your endurance. You can go across the monkey bars or climb a tree, and that's your strength. And you can tie your shoe or pull your sock up or whatever you need to do, or sit Indian style, and that's your flexibility. So a lot of what ends up being good training for runners later in life starts out naturally with children.
Wow. And things like playing basketball and ice skating or roller skating or skateboarding, because you're moving those legs over and over. Any of those things are wonderful for learning how to run and building up the strength or the endurance. Those are for endurance. Well, you have 2 wonderful stories that I'd like for you to read, and then maybe after the stories we can play a type of game that will help with endurance also. So what are your 2 stories that you're going to be reading to us?
Well, the first one is called Finkelhopper Frog.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay.
So boys and girls at home, I hope you're ready to listen, and George and Willie, they are too.
Finkelhopper Frog by Irene Livingston. Illustrations by Brian Lies. Finkelhopper, Finkelhopper, Finkelhopper Frog saw that all the other folks were going out to jog. Finkelhopper whispered, "I will buy a jogging suit. I'll get myself a jazzy one, a dandy one, a beaut." Good thought. So Finkel got his hat and coat and locked his little door. Then hopped to Mrs. Chimpanzee's. She ran a clothing store. He checked out all the jogging suits. A lot of them were cute. He told her he was looking for a really special suit. She reached beneath the counter and came up with something wild. A suit with pink and purple dots, and Finkelhopper smiled. He touched it and he smoothed it, and he held it to his chin. The suit was really rockin'. Let my jogging days begin. So home he hurried happy, put the suit on right away, and off he went to show the crowd he'd jog with them today. He hippied, he hoppied, and he sang a sweet kerchog until he started wondering, is this the way to jog? Now coming down the other way was Itchy Flea the dog, and Itchy nearly choked himself from laughing at the frog. Finkelhopper, Finkelhopper, Finkelhopper Frog, that's a stupid joggin' suit, said Itchy Flea the dog. And man, you're only hoppin'. That is not the way to jog. Finkelhopper spurted and he muttered in a fog, I've got my jazzy jogging suit, and now I want to jog. Then Yellerine, the alley cat, with half a bitten ear and fur a little patchy, came a-trottin' from the rear. Finkelhopper, Finkelhopper, Finkelhopper Frog, your jogging suit is goofy, and you don't know how to jog. She gave a silly giggle, and she flipped her fuzzy tail, and off she went to hollering, did you get it at a sale? Now Finkel's heart was heavy, but he hoped it didn't show. He bopped along determined he would never let them know. But then a rabbit came along, a ribbon on her head, a boing, a boing, a boing, a boing. And this is what she said. My name is Ruby Rabbit. Hey, you're looking pretty cute. A hoppin' and a boppin' in your hippie hoppin' suit. You're calling this a hopping suit? Said Fickle Hopper Frog. And Ruby said, of course it is. We hop. We never jog. So Finkelhopper, keep on doing what you always do, 'cause hopping is the way to go, the perfect way for you. Then Finkel winked a froggy eye. Oh, Ruby, now I see that everyone has special things to do and say and be. We all can hop or jog or fly or crawl or leap or run and get to anywhere we want. There's room for everyone. And there they are.
All of them. I love that suit.
I love that suit too.
I
and
do too.
I like the story because
Yes.
some people might run and some people might jog.
And some people like to walk because something may have happened and they can't run. And so just getting out and exercising and moving, and that's what's so important. I was just reading before we got together that many children watch TV for 3 hours a day. And sometimes if you play those video games, you might be in front of some sort of mechanical device for 5.5 or more hours a day and not get out and exercise. And it's so important to exercise. And so put down the TV after this show and put down the video game and go out and move. And that's what's important.
I like it when you said go out.
Go
it's
out.
also so much, it just feels so good to be out in fresh air.
And you have another wonderful story for
I do have
us.
another wonderful story called Making the Team.
Okay.
It's really cute.
And making the team would be running. That would probably be endurance.
It could be any team. It could be...
But running, would that be endurance? It could be flexibility, and it could be...
It would depend on the team, and you're going to find out because they're talking about 2 teams in this book. Okay? And this one's by Nancy Carlson, Making the Team. One day, Luann and Arnie found something exciting on the school bulletin board. Tryouts for cheerleading and for the cheerleading squad and the football team were coming up. I'm going to try out for cheerleading, said Luann, and I'm going to try out for the football team, said Arnie. That afternoon, they hurried over to Arnie's to practice together. Luann was doing pretty well until she came to the split jump. She couldn't get off the ground. Like this, Luann, said Arnie. I'm better at cartwheels, said Luann. Let me show you how to do it, said Arnie. You ought to be practicing football, said Luann, and she picked up the football and threw it to Arnie. Arnie missed the catch. You have to keep your eye on the ball, Arnie, Luann told him, like this. I'm probably better at tackling, said Arnie. Let me show you how to do it, said Luann. Let's try some kicking, said Arnie. All week long, Luann and Arnie met after school to practice for their tryouts. Luann's jumps didn't improve much, but Arnie kept her spirits up. "You really look great," he told her. Arnie only rarely caught the ball, but Luann encouraged him. "I know you're going to make the team," she said. When the big day arrived, their confidence was high. Cheerleading tryouts were first. Luann didn't make the squad. "Don't feel bad," Arnie consoled her. "There's always next year. By then you'll be top-notch." "Right," said Luann. "Come on. There's still a little time before your tryout. I'll show you a few last tricks." "Hey, Pig," said Coach Ed, "you're pretty good. Why don't you try out for the team?" So Luann and Arnie tried out together. Luann made the team. Arnie didn't. Suddenly, Luann had an idea. "Come on, Arnie," she said. "Cheerleading tryouts are still going on." That fall, Roosevelt School won every game. Luann led the team to victory. And Arnie led the cheers. And there they are. So see, sometimes you just don't know what sport you're going to be good at until you try it.
That is a great story. Well, we have a couple activities we can kind of talk about and how to get children off of their chairs and outside. One of the things that you can do is an obstacle course. And you can make different little treats. You can make different things like an obstacle course with tables and chairs, or outside you could have balls or whatever and run around. I can't run around all these different things now, but you could run around the obstacle courses, and you can have races with your friends. You can have races with your family, mom and dad.
Good.
And another thing, too, that I like is making letters. How about, can you stand up?
I can stand up.
Okay, and I'll move this out of the way. And give me like an R. How would you make an R?
Oh, Mrs. Mates. Is that right? I'm backwards.
I don't think
here you
ever
go.
anything. An R, and you might need to put your foot out for an R.
Oh, you're doing a capital R. Well, here you go.
You were doing a little R.
I was doing a little R.
That's a capital R. How do you make a little R?
Well, wouldn't it be?
Yes,
this
it
way?
would.
Oh, no, it might be. You can do it any way
Yes,
you like.
could. How would you make an O?
Oh.
Oh, see? And maybe, let's see, a P.
Yeah.
Could I make a P like that? Mm-hmm. You could also do things like, can you make an elephant? How would you make an elephant?
Oh, yes. You could. Well, now you can make an elephant two ways. He could have a long trunk and you could be moving your arms, but don't elephants also have big ears?
Yes.
You might need two people to make an elephant.
I could do that. You be the ears and I'll be your ears and you be the trunk.
Okay. There we go.
So you
George
can
thinks that's fun.
make all kinds of things like that, creative movement. Another thing you can do at home is what I like to do when my kids were growing up. I would turn the radio way up or the music, and I would just dance.
That's a lot of fun.
And I would dance with the kids, and I'd spin them, or they would spin me, and we would play and dance and dance. And there's lots of activities outside for the children to play sports, soccer.
Oh my goodness. Soccer, swim team, Little League baseball. What else do we have?
Your
foot.
children were on swimming,
My children were all swimmers.
and my children were all skiers. They went, and what did your children do?
Soccer and softball.
Soccer and softball. Yes, and all of those activities are great family activities.
And they're right here in Nevada County.
So parents, hopefully take your children out to the park and play with them, and boys and girls, just go outside and run. Children should have anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes a day of some sort of exercise, so that when they grow up, they'll have the muscle tone and the energy.
Strong bones.
Strong bones. Yes. So boys and girls at home, exercise and run. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Mrs. Mays.
Anytime. And make sure that if your family are looking for more activities to do, you can go into NCTV at the community calendar, and they'll show you some things. And I hope you've enjoyed being with us today, because we've enjoyed being with you and sharing some new ideas. DVDs are out at 3 places: the Grass Valley Library, the Madeline Helen Library, and the Sierra Nevada Children's Services. They also have the DVDs of any George and Willy world you have missed in the past. So listen to lots of stories, do your jobs, and have fun running, boys and girls. So don't forget to write us at 235 South Auburn Street, or George and Willy's at yahoo.com. Do you have a couple other little letters or something that we can do before
Just
we
the
go
most
out?
important thing you need for running.
Shoes.
Shoes.
How many miles have you run in those shoes?
Oh my goodness. I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Too many.
And show us your T-shirt. I think that's one of the shirts.
This is a shirt from the Nevada County Kids Classic. This is the race for children in our county every springtime
And
at
when?
the high school.
So that's coming up.
That's coming up. I'm not sure. I think it's early May.
All right. Boys and girls, thanks for coming. And until next time, bye-bye. Bye, Mrs.
Bye.
Kranz.
Bye.
Bye, Mrs. Madigan.
Bye,
Thanks
Mrs.
a lot.
You're
Bye,
welcome.
George. Willy. There's Willy.